The Crexian battle commander Vorthak stood before his assembled warriors in the dimly lit war chamber of their flagship. His 4 arms gestured wildly as he addressed the elite hunting pack, each member standing over 8 feet tall, with natural armor plating covering their bodies. One human, Vorthak growled, his mandibles clicking with anticipation. Just one pathetic human has killed 17 of our finest warriors in the past 3 days. This ends now. The holographic display showed grainy footage of their target, a lone human sniper moving through the ruins of New Jakarta Colony. The figure appeared small, fragile even, carrying what the corrections considered a primitive projectile weapon. "Commander, with respect," interrupted Zektar, the pack's tracker. "This human has demonstrated unusual cunning. Perhaps we should dash silence." Vorthak slammed his primary fist against the tactical table. Humans are soft. They have no natural weapons, no armor, no enhanced senses. They tire quickly and break easily. This one got lucky, nothing more. The assembled warriors exchanged glances. They had all heard the stories filtering back from the front lines. Whispers of a ghost that struck from impossible distances, leaving no trace except dead corrections with holes through their brain stems. Lieutenant Grackmore pulled up the tactical data. The human appears to be operating alone, using the ruins for cover. Our thermal sensors have difficulty tracking it, something about their body temperature being lower than expected. Then we flush it out, Vorthak decided. Take 2 full hunting packs. Surround the ruins. Use the heavy plasma cannons to level every building if necessary. No more playing games with this primitive. 3 hours later, 48 Crexian warriors descended upon the ruins where the sniper had last been spotted. They moved in perfect formation, their advanced sensors sweeping every corner, every shadow. The morning sun cast long shadows across the devastated cityscape. Sergeant Dexali led the first pack through the eastern approach. His warriors spread out in a classic encirclement pattern, weapons charged and ready. The ruins stretched before them. Twisted metal, collapsed buildings, and endless hiding spots. "Thermal signatures negative," reported one of his soldiers. "Motion sensors clear. Keep moving. It has to be here somewhere." They advanced methodically, checking every possible vantage point. The corrections prided themselves on being the galaxy's apex predators. Their empire had conquered 17 systems, subjugating dozens of species. Humans were supposed to be just another easy addition to their collection. But something felt wrong. The ruins were too quiet. No birds, no insects, even the wind seemed to have died. Dexali's instincts, honed through decades of hunting, screamed danger. "Sir," his point warrior called out, "I found something." The squad converged on a partially collapsed building. Inside, they found a makeshift camp, food wrappers, water bottles, and ammunition casings. Still warm. Recent activity, Dexali confirmed. "Fan out. The human cannot have gone far." That's when they found the first surprise. A simple mirror propped against a window, angled to reflect sunlight. Beside it, a small device emitting heat signatures that matched human body temperature. "A decoy," breathed Dexali. But why leave it so obvious? The answer came in the form of a sharp crack that echoed across the ruins. Private Hector's head snapped back, a neat hole appearing in his forehead just below his helmet line. His body crashed to the ground before anyone could react. "Sniper, take cover." The corrections scattered, diving behind whatever protection they could find. Their combat computers calculated trajectory, but the results made no sense. The shot had come from over 2 kilometers away, far beyond what they believed human weapons could accurately achieve. Another crack. Another warrior fell, shot through a gap in his armor that should have been invisible at such distance. "Return fire. Suppress that position." Plasma bolts and energy beams lit up the ruins, turning the suspected sniper position into molten slag. They poured enough firepower to level a city block, confident they had vaporized their target. The shooting stopped. Cautiously, Dexali ordered his remaining warriors forward. They needed to confirm the kill, bring back evidence that the ghost was dead. They found another decoy, this time a jacket stuffed with debris, positioned to cast a human-shaped shadow. The real sniper position had been 100 meters to the left, offering clear sight lines to their approach route. "Ow!" Zektar muttered, examining the setup. How could it predict our movements so precisely? The tracker knelt beside the actual firing position, finding only a few brass casings and disturbed dust. The human had fired exactly 3 shots, then relocated before their response could arrive. "Sir, you need to see this," called another warrior. Written in the dirt, in perfect Krexian script, was a single word: easy. Vorthak received the report with barely contained rage. 3 dead warriors, and the human had escaped without a scratch. Worse, it seemed to be mocking them. "Double the patrols," he ordered. "Set up overlapping fields of fire. Use the orbital sensors. I want every heat signature, every movement tracked." But the human sniper had learned something valuable from the encounter. The Krexians moved in predictable patterns, relied too heavily on their technology, and, most importantly, they had never faced an enemy who understood patience. Marcus Chun, former Marine Scout sniper, settled into his new hide site 5 kilometers from his previous position. He'd spent 3 days preparing this location, accounting for wind patterns, sight lines, and escape routes. The Krexians thought in terms of hours or days. Marcus thought in terms of weeks. He carefully maintained his rifle, a custom-built .338 Lapua Magnum with modifications that would make most armorers weep. The scope alone cost more than most soldiers made in a year, but it allowed him to reach out and touch targets at ranges the aliens couldn't comprehend. Through his scope, he watched the Krexians establish their perimeter. They were good, he admitted, disciplined, well-equipped, and coordinated. But they had made a fundamental error in assuming human limitations based on average specimens. Marcus was not average. 20 years of training and combat had honed him into something beyond normal human capability. He could slow his heartbeat, control his breathing to imperceptible levels, and remain motionless for hours. His knowledge of ballistics, wind reading, and target prediction bordered on supernatural. The Krexians believed humans were weak because they lacked natural weapons. They failed to understand that humans had evolved something far more dangerous: the ability to turn anything into a weapon and the patience to master it completely. As night fell, Marcus began his next hunt. The Krexians had technology, numbers, and firepower. But he had something they couldn't counter: the human talent for persistence hunting. His ancestors had chased prey to exhaustion across ancient savannas. He would do the same, except his prey would die from precise shots they never saw coming. The aliens wanted to kill a human sniper. They thought it would be easy. They were about to learn why humans had survived every extinction event their planet had thrown at them, why they had clawed their way from prey to predator, and why the most dangerous human was not the strongest or fastest, but the one who refused to stop. Marcus chambered around and settled in for a long night. The Krexians had come to conquer Earth. Instead, they would learn what it meant to be hunted by a persistence predator that could kill from beyond the horizon. The war for New Jakarta had only just begun. The Krexian Orbital Command ship hummed with activity as Commander Vorthak reviewed the casualty reports from the past week. 23 dead warriors, each killed by a single precise shot. The human sniper had turned their conquest of New Jakarta into a nightmare. "Show me the pattern analysis," Vorthak ordered, his secondary arms tapping impatiently against his command throne. The holographic display lit up with red dots marking each kill location. At first glance, they appeared random, scattered across the ruins without apparent logic. But the tactical AI had found something disturbing. "The human is teaching us," Lieutenant Grackmore explained, highlighting specific clusters. "Each attack exploits a different weakness. Here, it targeted our scouts, changing shifts. There, it waited for our patrol to bunch up at a choke point. This one struck during a sandstorm when our sensors were compromised." Vorthak studied the data with growing unease. Every Crexian military doctrine assumed enemies would fight desperately, but predictably when cornered. This human was doing neither. It struck when least expected, from positions deemed impossible, then vanished like smoke. What about the orbital strikes? Vorthak asked. Ineffective, Commander. By the time we lock coordinates and fire, the human has relocated. We've destroyed 17 city blocks attempting to kill one primitive. The word primitive hung in the air like a bitter joke. Whatever this human was, primitive didn't describe it. Deep in the ruins, Marcus Chin cleaned his rifle while reviewing his hand-drawn maps. No electronic devices that could be tracked, no patterns that could be predicted. He'd learned that lesson in Afghanistan, refined it in Syria, and perfected it here. His hide site was a masterwork of camouflage. Not high-tech active camo like the corrections used, but old-school netting, local debris, and careful positioning that broke